Hello again, skywatchers, and welcome back to EarthSky. I'm Deborah Bird. A brilliant burst of auroras lit up the skies across the globe last night. Skywatchers saw vivid greens and reds like these in this video of last night's sky from Jan Curtis in Wyoming. And I am here with a sun scientist, Dr. C. Alex Young. Alex, so glad to see you.
It's good to see you too.
So what happened last night?
Well, we have been waiting for some coronal mass ejections. These are big blobs of solar material, sun stuff that's spit out into space, and it also drags along the sun's magnetic field. These came from a very active sunspot. For those who are interested, the number was 4274. It's actually a sunspot that had been active previously on its previous time around the sun, and then it rotated back into view. But this time it has produced huge eruptions. First off, X flares. Okay, these are the largest kinds of solar flares. The funny thing, of course, is these were small X flares, if that even makes sense, but they were small. But those X flares also spit out these huge blobs of material. So we had three of these X flares. The last one was yesterday and the largest one. And so we had initially 2 CMEs and then 3 CMEs, and we were really expecting just 2. Then yesterday we had an eruption which added another one. And we expected that they would be here yesterday afternoon. Now, the predictions from NOAA originally were for not as intense of a storm as we saw. The storms are on a scale of 1 to 5, G1 through 5, and the original prediction was a G2 or 3, and then it turned out to be a G4. And so what's happening is these big blobs of material, their magnetic field interacts with the Earth's magnetic field and creates a magnetic storm. We call it a geomagnetic storm. And those storms are what drive the aurora. The cool thing is, what's really important for space weather observers is, what is the direction of the magnetic field in that big blob, in that CME? And if it is the same as the Earth, then nothing really too exciting happens. You can think about, if you take 2 magnets, bar magnets that are pointed in the same direction, and you try to put them together, they push each other apart, they repel each other. But if they're opposite, they attract each other. And the very same thing happens here. Earth's magnetic field is pointed in this direction, and if the stuff that comes from the sun is pointed in the opposite direction, then voila, the magic happens, and all of this material from the Earth's magnetic bubble flows into the North and South Pole, and those particles of material hit oxygen, which gives us those amazing greens and reds, and then it hits nitrogen, which gives us those blues. And so that is what happened last night, but there's more to come.
And Alex, were people seeing this across the globe? Was it a northern and southern hemisphere event? I mean, we saw mostly northern hemisphere pictures.
I have not finished looking at all of the reports, and I suspect there probably was some from the southern hemisphere, but I have not seen any yet. This was predominantly from the northern hemisphere. And people may remember, last year we had 2 big episodes of storms, the May one, which was the biggest one, and then October. This storm is not as big as either one of those. However, it was quite exciting and quite dramatic. Those were much more extended. They lasted for a lot longer. But one of the things that I think drove this one is all of this stuff that's constantly coming from the sun, called the solar wind. Okay, that material, a lot of it is deflected by Earth's magnetic field. It acts like a big force field. But some of it collects at the back of the magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic field is stretched out as the solar wind flows past it, and so it kind of makes a tadpole shape. And at the tail, stuff builds up, material builds up. And if enough of it builds up, when the CME hits, causes it to release, kind of like snapping a rubber band, and slingshots all that stuff into Earth. If there's more material, then that means that the storm, the geomagnetic storm, can be larger. So that may have been what happened here and why it was a bit larger than was predicted. One of the things that we're excited about is it's not over yet. The Earth's magnetic field is all rustled up, it's all disturbed, and there's more coming. There was this huge flare yesterday, which sent a very fast CME, a very fast coronal mass ejection. This blast wave was actually so fast that it also accelerated particles to super relativistic speeds, close to the speed of light. And this created what's called a particle storm. And we can see that particle storm when we look at our cameras that are looking at the sun. You see all of this snow on them. And that is the sign of these particles hitting the camera. And this one was so strong that it actually even created a particle event on the ground that was observed by neutron monitors, the kind that neutron monitors are typically on mountaintops. They're designed to primarily look for cosmic rays that come from outside the solar system. But the sun can sometimes make its own blast of particles, and that's what happened here. So we call those ground level events, and those, or ground level enhancement, those are actually relatively rare. We usually only see a couple in any given solar cycle. That's roughly an 11-year period. So that was exciting. And we're waiting to see, what's going to happen when that stuff reaches us, which, according to predictions, could be any moment, though those predictions have an error range of, about 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
So it could be later. But we think that could mean that we're going to have some more of this activity tonight, which I'm hoping for, because unfortunately I wasn't feeling well and I slept through it. So I missed it here. I know I missed it here. My wife was also very bummed, and I'm hoping the sun will help me make it up to her. So
let's bring in a couple of people who did see it. Jeremiah, let's bring in John and Marcy. So John Goss, hello, John, and Marcy Curran, both live up north, and they both saw the event. Well, you're up north. John, quit, don't give me that look. You live up north. For me, a southerner, it seems like up north. So, and let's look at a few pictures. Let's go to some pictures. We're going to add Alex. Alex, you mind hanging around?
You bet. I'm happy to stay around.
Okay, this may not be the best picture to start on because we have so many pictures. Let's look at this one. That's a beauty. And this one is from Daryl Reese in Ohio. All of these pictures are from the EarthSky community or from the EarthSky team itself, because the EarthSky team, we have about 20 or so people on the team, and our WhatsApp thread lit up last night with people sharing pictures. We have people in all parts of the globe, and they were sharing their pictures of this event. So, John, Marcy, what did you see? Tell us about it.
Well, I'd like to start, and let's start discussing my latitude, how far south I am. And I'm at 38 degrees north, which it's kind of midway across as far as the country goes. But last night I went out at, 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I could see a red glow directly on the northern horizon. I think the more you talk to people about these things, they're going to say, like, well, this red glow changes shape, it grows, it shrinks, it moves. And that's exactly what I saw, because I went out about a half hour, 45 minutes later, and this glow was a lot taller in the sky, a lot more intense, probably had some greens tossed in with it. It's unexpected for me. And that was great. And one of the things that we do nowadays is that we immediately get our camera out and start taking pictures. And then we immediately start texting them to people around the country. So once this starts happening, it's not a surprise for anybody else. They're all ready to go. So pretty exciting last night.
It was very exciting. Okay, I've gotten myself all out of order on these pictures, so I'm going to straighten myself out right now. Okay, Marcy, what did you see?
Well, I live in Wyoming, so I'm at plus 42-degree northern latitude. So we can see, lower aurora from here quite often. And I have an all sky camera that I keep an eye on. It's just out on the prairie. I live out of town, so I can see that glow starting up. This is actually, my husband took this from inside our observatory. That shows you how red the sky got from here. So I knew what was going on, even as darkness was falling. So I bundled up and went outside, and you see this glow on the sky, but you don't really see the color right away or anything. But I took a snap with my cell phone. It's like, oh yeah, it's there. This is, a sample of what I was seeing. I could see the spikes, the reds, the greens. And it just, as John mentioned, it continued to grow. It went, higher in the sky. It was funny because it almost looked like clouds to the eye with just a little hint of like red and green. But as you were outside longer, you could see more color coming. And it just really, we went to bed at 11 o'clock and it was still going on. So it was just incredible from here. You can see
And
it
most of the aurora pictures, the photos that we see are green, but these
Right.
were all red. Like, Alex, why was it so red? Do you know?
Well, depending on where, so one of the things is, the Earth is rotating and there's an auroral oval, and that oval, where it's at its peak, kind of bulges out. So when the oval is over you or closer pointed towards you, you're going to see more of the lower down aurora. Potentially, even if the storm is large enough, you would see it overhead. You could see the movement, the dancing. It's kind of like curtains when you see it overhead. But as the auroral oval moves around, then the aurora actually is farther and farther north. And so what happens is you're looking higher and higher because you're looking over the horizon. And the red light comes from the oxygen that's much higher up in the atmosphere. There's a lot less oxygen. And so the reaction when the particles hit the oxygen is more prone to produce the red at higher altitudes. And so that's what happens. And that's why you see more red. Typically the greens are when you're see here, there's more structure. You can kind of see the sort of curtainy, swirly shapes. Sometimes people call them the cinnamon roll. And then when you see it overhead, people typically call that the corona. There's lots of different structures. So you're just seeing different parts of the atmosphere and of the auroral oval.
Go ahead, Marcy.
I wanted to point out in that picture you just had up, that was Jupiter right in the middle. That little
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Oh,
it's really bright.
Thing. How cool.
Yeah, that's Jupiter. And so I was facing east from Wyoming. That's how far south the aurora was at that time when I was outside.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's really cool is depending on where you see it. So, for example, when you're farther south, you're typically only going to see it on the horizon towards the north. But, for example, for the October storms last year, I was in Maryland, but I saw it from all directions, meaning that the auroral oval is actually extended down over you. So if you see it in different directions, then that means that the oval is extended much farther south.
And we are getting some questions. Matthew Henson wants to know, Marcy, what do you see in your telescope?
Well, the telescope, actually, both the telescopes were pointed at some deep sky objects, and we haven't looked at our images yet, but I bet we're going to have to filter out a lot of that auroral color. But we just use them to take deep sky photos.
Right. So you don't need a telescope to see something like this. This is an event that you want to just look at it with your eye or take pictures with whatever camera you have, or your phone. The mobile phones take amazing pictures nowadays.
Are really, really powerful. And one thing I wanted to point out, and this is actually something, my training as a solar physicist originally, not an auroral physicist, but I've spent time studying space weather. But the first times I've seen aurora were in Iceland, and I went for a second trip to Iceland. And one of the things that to to tell people about that Marcy mentioned is when the aurora first comes, a lot of times, even in a place like Iceland, is it looks like clouds. It looks like clouds low on the horizon. In fact, the first time I saw it in Iceland, I thought it was headlights from over the hill, but I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so that of course didn't make any sense. But as soon as you hold your cell phone up, those clouds, you start to see the color. And that's the key, is if you just hold your cell phone up, you don't even have to take a picture just to start getting a hint of that color. And it's amazing. And then all of a sudden, when you have a really active aurora, that just explodes on you.
And John provided this cool comparison. John, tell us about this.
Yeah, well, this is one of the first images I took last night. The one on the left is what I took with the camera. And as Alex was saying, you can easily see the reds and pretty close to the horizon at that point. But the camera really accentuates the red color. So I kind of reprocess it. And the one on the right is kind of what I saw with the unaided eye. In fact, I still may have had a little too much red in there. A lot of times you look at these things and you think you just don't see it. Well, get your camera out and get a picture of it, and it'll show you what's coming on. And keep watching, because these things change minute by minute. In a half hour, it could look completely different. It may be better, it may be worse. So keep an eye on these things.
We got this image from one of our favorite astrophotographers, Elliot Herman. And it's like, you can't see much in this image. That's a saguaro cactus that you see coming up in the middle there, because Elliot is in Tucson, Arizona. Like, that's how far south he was. So I think what he's trying to show here is what he saw, the color that he saw with the eye. So, but I want to ask about this image also, because Kelly Kaiser-Witt, who is a member of the EarthSky team, she's in Wisconsin, and she kept describing these blobs. So what are the blobs, Alex?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of different structures you can see. Honestly, I'll have to ask my colleague, Vincent Ledvina, who's a graduate student in Alaska and a really fantastic aurora photographer. And he knows a lot about this. That's what he's studying. But I think the part of what to say about it is, this is an example of why trying to predict the aurora is so challenging, because it's very, very structured. And so you see these what are called ovation. These are the auroral oval models that NOVA puts out, and they show you this big, nice, solid oval. But unfortunately, that's just kind of a big picture of where you might see it. But in fact, there's a lot of structure there. And so you might see these kind of structures, but if you were in a different location, you might, only be looking at more of the reds, because you can only see more of the horizon. So, and John said, this is, the aurora changes so quickly, and it just can surprise you. So I don't know exactly what they are, but there's definitely just a good example of how dynamic and structured the aurora is.
Yeah, and here's an image from EarthSky community member Ross Stone in California. We are kind of hiding. Let me see if I can move us here so that we're not hiding that. Where did that go? There it is.
Ooh, that's neat.
That's a nice picture. I don't know what telescope that is. I'm sure he told us, but I don't have that information handy, where he is when he took this photo. But it's a beautiful photo. And I just want to quickly go through a few more of these. This one is you can see it's from Kansas. It is from Steve Wilson in Kansas. So just lots of people from lots of different places saw auroras last night. This is from Ruth Goodwin in Arkansas, which is so cool. Let's see, is there one here I have not shown yet? Oh, I have not shown Marcy's all-sky camera. Marcy, tell us about this.
You bet. We have, since we are semi-rural, we have an all-sky camera just sitting out in the prairie, and it takes a video of the sky every night. So this is what I check to see if there's aurora going on. So I clipped this down and sped it up from last night, but you can see how that aurora changed and grew. And like, look at how far south it gets on the camera. It was just amazing. So this is my favorite toy. You know, it's on the Wyoming prairie, so it's pitted and it's scratched, but it still takes amazing pictures and videos.
Do you share that online live, Marcy?
There is a link to it. It's live online, so I can give it to you.
I'll get it. So, because I love all sky cameras, they are so cool.
Yeah.
And Marcy, let's add this link. We don't have it in there now, but let's add this link to our post description.
Sure. Like I said, it's honestly my favorite toy. I watch it like TV at night.
And we are having a comment here. Don't know if you show Europe, but Serbia had it last night too. We wait for tonight.
Yes.
Some faint reddish is there. So they're already starting to see it in Serbia. So that is so cool. So Alex, tell us again, what are the prospects for tonight?
Yeah, so let me look at the most recent updates from NOAA. Currently, NOAA has a strong prediction for a G4 or a G3 storm tonight. I will look at the solar wind data, but the CME, if it's not already here, it may be here soon. And then it's going to start disturbing the magnetosphere and get things going. I will say that NOAA, the Space Weather Prediction Center, swpc.noaa.gov, is a good place to go to see the alerts, and they'll put out a little post if something is happening. However, if you want to get more real-time posts, then I would go to spaceweatherlive.com and click on their auroral section. It's exciting, it's challenging, and if you want to learn how to follow auroras, you can go check out auroraguy.org, and there's some posts on how to follow it, because it's difficult, and it's exciting, but it's also challenging.
And I just want to mention that Alex is a co-author on EarthSky's daily sun update. So every day, EarthSky presents an update on what the sun is doing and what the aurora prospects are for that night. And we hope you will come to EarthSky to check that out. Marcy and John are also with EarthSky, and it's our great pleasure to present the night sky to you. So guys, thank you. We're going to get out of here. And that was last night's Aurora event, the night of November 11/12, 2025. We are hoping for another great display tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, and clear skies.
Yes, clear skies to everybody. One Earth, one sky, EarthSky.